Wake up with PRTV. It's time for Good Morning Plateau.
Peace 90.5 FM. It's 3 minutes past the hour, 9 a.m. Good morning, and thank you so much for ensuring you're always tuned to Peace 90.5 FM. Good Morning Plateau is the program. Elections end, but leadership doesn't. The real work of building our state happens every single day. It happens in our communities. It happens in policy rooms and in the ideas of young people. Today on Good Morning Plateau, we will be talking about youth participation beyond the elections, building Plateau's next generation of leaders. Joining me in the studio this morning is Godwin Geoffrey. He is the Regional Director of Jamie Pajol International and social advocate and innovator. Good morning, and thank you so much for coming on Good Morning Plateau.
Thank you.
And I also have Pam Chuang Toma. He is a civil society practitioner and public affairs commentator. Good morning, and thank you so much for coming on Good Morning Plateau. Right, so we will be talking about barriers, we'll be talking about opportunities and real ways young people can shape governance right now, not just at the ballot box. If you are young, if you care about Plateau's future and Nigeria, or if you are a leader who wants to mentor the next wave, stay with us because your voice will count on today's edition of the program. And don't forget, halfway into the discussion, our phone lines will be open for you to call in to join us. And when it's that time, you kindly turn down the volume of your radio set or you move away from it so we can hear you. Right, so when we talk youth participation beyond elections, someone might be wondering, what are these people talking about?
Okay, so basically, what we're trying to look at is in politics today, in the Nigeria of today, youths are only important a year before the election, and then the election year, and then that's all, you know. So we're thinking. So what plans do? So we're thinking. So what plans do political office holders have for young people? You know, do they have a policy that actually encapsulates young people? Do they actually have that? You know, which is one. And then secondly, do they have a plan? Like let's say, for example, do they have like a 10-year plan for young people for their state? You know, over the years, we could say that personally, I have been advocating for. In Plateau State, I've been advocating for the separation of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. because it seems like if you pay Plateau United players their salaries, you play football, you build a stadium, you feel like you've done a lot for the young people. But it's far more than that. So once these two ministries are actually separated, we'll be able to have a functional, distinctive ministries. You will be able to know that, okay, this ministry is for Ministry of Youth and maybe social innovation or something like that. But let's have a particular ministry for young people where they would be able to have a plan for them, a 10-year plan. Someone who is 21 now, in the next 10 years, he'll be 31. So in that 10 years, what has he achieved? So, but he cannot have that plan for himself. But the government will be able to direct, most especially give direction for such people. So by the time we have that mindset of the highest a youth can be is an SSA or an SA or a data boy, that's the only thing that comes to mind. But there are so many things that we could do. And to round up this particular question, the mindset we're having currently is because most of our young people have not traveled far and wide to see what their contemporaries are actually doing in different countries. I give an example like China. A Chinese young person has an entrepreneurial mindset. They're not even dependent on government because of what? There is an enabling environment for them to thrive. So same thing should apply here. But some sets of politicians would like to keep you close by, giving you crumbs, so that at the end of the day, you will still be dependent on them. So what happens to you if you resign? If your principal is no longer in power? So what happens to you? So those are the challenges that we are actually facing basically, in the sector.
All right. So, Godwin, Pam made mention of knowing what political leaders have for the youth.
Yeah.
Could that be the reason why it is important for us to talk about youth participation beyond elections, building Plateau's next generation of leaders?
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for having me here. When we talk about youth participation, people immediately think about election. Basically, they think it's just young people, chasing after a particular politician, or just go voting and just doing rallies basically because of the election period. But that is not basically the thing. When we talk about youth participation, it's in as much as voting is one of the civic engagement and it's very, very important, but it's just one side of the story, right? We said real democracy is when people begin to not just begin to participate in election, but when they can be able to stand up for themselves, and it should be that the real question should be that who are the people that question these leaders? Who are the people that check track of what these people we vote into system does? Right, and if you check the population of Nigeria is one of the youngest country that has the largest population. So come to think of it, if we can be able to empower our youth with the necessary skills, necessary mindset, the knowledge to excel in different fields, that brings about the participation in politics. It's not just participating because it's an avenue. You need to do it because it's your legal right. You begin to channel it basically when you begin to track record of like a specific project in your own community. You begin to go to community meetings, attend dialogues, learn your voices. These are processes where you get to understand that youths don't just participate because of the election period. They learn their voices on the particular problems that is happening, and that is how through this we can be able to amplify the voices of how youth can be able to participate beyond just the election. Okay,
so still to you, you are a social advocate and innovator. What gaps do you see in how young people engage with governance when it's not election season?
Okay, come again, the question.
What gaps do you see in how young people engage with governance when it's not election season, being an advocate and an innovator?
There are so many gaps young people face basically relating to how they can be able to expatiate and correlates within the systems when it comes to beyond participation. Basically, one of the key thing that is the biggest gap is it's just like a barrier, to relating to how young people can be able to access this, and is lack of support from the government. Basically, there are young people that have these ideas. There are young people that can be able to draft out policies. There are young people that can be able to bring out share blueprints on how you can be able to navigate other challenges, but then the government cannot be able to support them. The government doesn't support them. There are so many opportunities where young people can be able to participate. They don't even allow the youth to learn the voices, and these are things that shrink them. These are things that concern the masses. They don't allow the youth to learn their voices. They think, okay, these are just young people, they don't even need to be in these particular rooms, and this is one of the biggest gap that is disrupting how youth can be able to participate and relating to the government and the masses. And the other one is relating to support, just what I've said, is we have what we call limited access. So many people, in terms of decision making, basically, this is one of the key things that actually affects and poor civic engagement, poor civic education. So many young people understand politics, but they don't actually understand governance. They just want to follow, okay, you're a politician, you're this. They don't actually understand the policy. Young people draft policy briefing. I could vividly remember in Adamawa State, in Taraba State, we young people, there's a particular project that was assigned to a particular local government. Is a road, a tap. There is no water in that particular committee, because we young people understand this is one of the critical issues. We learn our voices through social media. This is one of the reasons. Through that, we engage the right people. We said this is a particular program, and there's a budget attached to this things. Because as a young person, you get to know, okay, this budget is attached to this particular money is attached to this. So you follow a track record. So sometimes when you're doing this, they think you're against them. And it's you demanding for accountability. And that was how, within 2 to 3 months, that was how they came, and then they dig borehole for them in that particular place. So when young people participate in governance, without just actually keying or paying attention to politics, when they understand the real what governance is, we can be able to make a change in our own community.
All right. Listener, we take a quick break. Good morning, Plateau. We'll be back in just a moment.
Having breakfast, driving, or in the office? Let us keep you company on Good Morning to Fridays. Tune in for lively discussions on trending topics and issues that matter most to Plateau citizens. From politics to culture, economy to entertainment, we'll dive into the topics shaping Plateau State. Catch the conversation table and have your say. Stay informed, engaged, and inspired with Good Morning Plateau, your daily dose of Plateau.
Welcome back, listener. If you've just tuned in, please, 90.5 FM is the station. It's Good Morning Plateau, and we've been talking about youth participation beyond the elections, building Plateau's next generation of leaders, with Godwin Geoffrey, Regional Director, Jeremy Pajor International, a social advocate and an innovator. And we also have been speaking with Pam Chuang Toma, civil society practitioner and public affairs commentator. All right, so before we went on that break, I wanted asking this question. You are into civil society work. How would you rate Plateau youth participation in policy, budgeting, and community decision making right now?
Yeah, truly, to be honest, if out of 10, I would say 4. Okay, so out of 10, I think I would say a 4. And this is my reason. You know, there are so many situations that have happened in Plateau State. One of which is budget tracking. You know, how many young people in different communities actually have an idea of how much was allocated to their local governments? You know, that is one question. And then secondly, there are collective projects that is at the center of the advancement of knowledge of young people. How many of them are even aware? Now, let me just give you a tip of the iceberg. You know the National Library, just around
Yeah.
So 75 million was budgeted for the renovation of that library 2 years ago. That was in 2024.
Wow.
You know, and if you, I believe you had passed there recently. Did you see any touch of renovation? There's
Not
none.
at all.
But how many young people even know that an amount of money as that was given? And the money has gone. If they are going to give another monies to actually fix that library, it's definitely going to be more than 75 because of the inflation rate, you know, as of 2 years ago and then as of this year. So those are the challenges. Now, the National Library is a conducive environment for young people to actually come and study, come and make research. And we are at the center of all these things, but a lot of people don't even know that such amount of money was allocated, which is one. Now, there's a particular young person who currently is battling for his freedom in the prison, and he's shuttling between the prison and the court. A young man, his name is Selnan. You know, he was making inquiries as regards to projects from Langtan North and Langtan South. You know, it will interest you to know that in Langtan South there is no potable drinking water. There is no potable drinking water. But does that mean that it has not been budgeted for? But it took a bold step to make that inquiry, even though a lot of people did not really agree with the methods in which he made those inquiries, because we heard that there were back and forth insults between him and the chairman, you know, and then they charged him to court and he's facing prison terms, you know. We hope that his bail has been perfected, you know. But now governance has been affected because 2 local government chairmen are trying to go to court to actually prove that whatever has been, their names have been bastardized by
Defamed.
him. Yeah, defamed by him, you know. But the crux of the problem is the items he mentioned. Does that mean it hasn't been budgeted for? How many young people are conscious enough to respectfully hold their leaders accountable? How many young people are aware of that? You need to follow projects. There's an organization called Tracker. We have ProMat. You know, they have different, we have budget. You know, we have data fight. So these are avenues where young people can go in and then find out about projects in their community. In Barkinladi, where I'm coming from, the primary health care centers in Barkinladi, not the Barkinladi town, but talking about Foron, Fan, you know, and other places, they are in shambles. I went and saw a delivery room of a woman. It looks like a prison. I'm not exaggerating. It looks like a prison. It's dirty. It has these insects that build house inside. You know, this, they call them gara in Hausa. They built house inside a delivery room in Barkinladi here. But does that mean that monies have not been allocated for such things? They have been. Women are delivering in such horrible environments. And it's terrible. So it is up to the young people in Plateau State to rise up. It's not just about going to cast your vote or selling it. But it is about, after election, what happens? Budgets are being made. Monies are exchanging hands. We are seeing how our religious organizations are getting 8 billion. And you'll be wondering, how was this thing inserted into the project if you don't make research? You have to make research. What is the business between government and churches? If you feel that you are capable of having a church, you have your church. But government should not be stipend. That's why you see the nature of preachings and from both the churches and the mosques. So those are the issues that we're actually having on ground. So if you have young people that would follow budgets from the start to finish, you'll be able to fish out various responsibilities of MDAs that are related to you down to your community. Just to round up this point, in a community called Kungorosha, they have not had pipe-borne water for more than 30 years. Kungorosha is at the heart of Just North. The current chairman of Just North lived in that particular community. You know, the current commissioner of water resources lives, and his family is still in that community. And you are a commissioner of water resources, and there's no water in that community. I even did a documentary in that particular place. How many young people are even aware that that community has been suffering from that? Now, there is an offshoot of challenges as a result of that water. People come out early to go and look for water. That results to issues of insecurity, phone snatching, rape, and all that. So, simply because there is no water in that community. So, once we have people respectfully looking into the affairs of budget processes and allocations, it gives that insight that yes, a lot of people are just looking beyond elections. We are actually doing our civic responsibility. And I urge the young people to be law-abiding. Pay your tax, be law-abiding, do not vandalize. But you need to, when you come to equity, you must come with clean hands. Yeah, so that's just my urge for the young people of Plateau State.
All right, so Godfrey, you both have established quite a number of gaps. And from PAM's rating, 4 I would say is poor.
Yes, poor.
4 over 10 is poor. So one will be wondering, what are the barriers limiting youth from participating as they should, as far as governance and leadership is concerned? Is it lack of mentorship, or there are other factors that are making youth to be, way back?
All right. Thank you so much. Just what I've said, we have a lot of young people in our country that are willing to contribute, to the betterment of the country. It's just that the lack of support, the lack of barriers are so wide that it affects us damagely. There are so many barriers that actually affect young people relating to how they can be able to bridge this gap. The first one is limited access. So many young people don't have access to finance. So many young people are ready to all put themselves out there, but the resources are very, very limited. Policies, many policies are affecting youth, that are developed without the youth input, basically. These are some of the accesses I'm talking about, just what I've said. There are other problems that actually do with the masses, but then they don't actually involve these people to be part of the system thinking. And the second thing is what we call unemployment, basically. When survival become the priority, then civic participation become very, very difficult for so many people. Economic hardship is very, very hard. There is no opportunities for young people to be able to explore relating to how they can be able to a layman and simple life. It's very, very difficult for them. So how do you want them to engage into governance with a clear mindset and mentality? It's going to be very, very brutal. And this is one of the key things that is actually affecting them. And the one I want to talk about is what? Lack of mentorship, just what you have said. Many potential leaders simply lack guardians. When you have a mentor, it's someone that has been there, that knows the way, goes the way. He's going to give you the blueprint of everything you need. All the experience he has, all the struggles, all the damages, all the experiences, the good and the bad, he knows them. He knows where you make mistakes, the loopholes and other things that you're supposed to do. He knows them. So when young people don't have that mentorship, when young people don't have that access to guidance, someone that can be able to mentor them, there's a very, very big gap in that particular, and that's one of the biggest things that actually affects us drastically. And the next one I want to talk about is financial constraint. There are so many young people that have access to have access to conferences, scholarships, opportunities for them to go out to learn these things firsthand from industry leaders, captains of industries, diplomats in different fields, but they need support. They need assistance. There's one of my friends. He got an opportunity to travel to Kenya. He just needs to pay his flight ticket and everything has been covered for him, but the government couldn't even support him. Basically, there are so many things that finance is limiting young people. This is one of the biggest barrier. And when you reach out to our government, they will think you're just here to do your thing and go your way. It's one of the key things that is affecting us drastically. And if we can be able to ask ourselves, if we had access to mentorship training and all these things, what then are we going to do? Are we truly going to solve a problem in our own community? This is a question I will leave to other people to be able to think on. But there are so many barriers, but these are just some of the few I would love to share. Thank you.
So we hear youths are the leaders of tomorrow on a daily, but there are barriers, there are hindrances. So how do we now break free so we can have youths leading beyond saying youths are the leaders of tomorrow?
So, this question is fantastic. In fact, it's coming in handy. I was discussing with one of the leading candidates of the Central Zone for House of Reps, so that was just 2 days ago. And he told me, he said, a political person prevailed on him to step down for a different person. He was a young person. He has contested before. He has shown the capacity to. But if truly we are actually the leaders, opportunity should be given. Except they want us to snatch it or collect it, But opportunity should be given. In the state, this current state that we're in, the highest, if you look at the percentage, I'm very keen by saying the percentage. If you look at the percentage of political office positions that are being occupied, most especially in government, the highest you can be is senior SSA or DG of a parastatal, But even those DGs of those parastatals are actually even leaving the youthful part of being a human, So they are actually even transcending into being like the older generation. But we can actually do more. If you look at what age most of our leaders, the Yakubu Gowons, became head of state at the age of 32, So what is wrong with our own generation? That does not mean that there are not people who are doing quite a lot to see how young people can be mentored into leadership. Currently, there is a Plateau Emerging Political Fellowship Program going on in Plateau State. People are selected from the 17 local governments, and then how they could mentor them into policy writing, into leadership. Currently, there's also a Policy Advocacy and Leadership Fellowship going on, and then this is the same thing. So the government has failed to do that, and individuals are actually rising up into the occasion just to fill the gap. If the Mutfangs, the Lalongs, the Jonah Jangs are no longer, who would fill in the space? That is what Plateau State should be concerned about. That's why I mentioned earlier, there should be a 10-year plan for young people to see how they could take over from when our governors are no longer there, or our leaders, our local government chairmen are no longer there. We appreciate the fact that we have young local government chairmen like J.K. Chris, Barrister J.K. Chris. We have Silas here. Those are the two young people that I can think of, And we have that of Langtan North and Langtan South. But, I just mentioned Langtan North and Langtan South in my earlier discussions.
Yes.
And then you could see the dimension. And you could understand the fears of the older generation allowing the younger generation to take
lead.
Power. But yes, mistakes can be made. So I'm just trying to balance the discussion. Yes, the youth are entirely not annihilated from the challenges also. Also, the older people are not. The young people need to, nobody can motivate you. You are your biggest, in fact, you're your number one motivator as a young person. Your mentors can only encourage you, they can guide you. But you as a young person, you need to motivate yourself. How do you do that? You follow the right channel. You go to school, engage in skills. It's not everybody that will work in the government. That is a fact. But the government must create an enabling environment for you who wants to do business. Look at what happened in the back farms, for young people who wants to engage in agriculture. Well, was that something that was supposed to happen? I don't want to really go into details, but what was the benefit for young people engaging in that particular agricultural policy? But I believe the government can do better. They can do better. We could have a long-term plan for young people. We could have a long-term plan for older people and all that. But once we have a 10-year plan for young people, we will be able to actually groom young people that will take over from the likes of their Lalong, their Mjuna Jangs, and all that.
Okay, so how ready would you say the youth are if the opportunity is given to govern?
Yeah, there are young people who are actually ready. We cannot be entirely ready. It's a fact. We can never be entirely ready. But it is a gradual step. It is a gradual step. It's a gradual step.
Okay, and we're hoping that with the baby steps we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there. With baby steps.
All right, listener, we take a break. We'll be back in a moment, and when we return, our phone lines will be open for you to join the conversation. Stay tuned.
Let us keep on good. Tune in for questions on trend and from politics to culture, economy to entertainment. We'll dive into the topics shaping Plateau State. Catch the conversation. Stay informed, engaged, and inspired. Good morning. Your big box of Plateau.
Welcome back, listener. Peace 90.5 FM is the station. It's Good Morning Plateau, and we've been talking about youth participation beyond election. It has been a quite insightful and interesting discourse on the program, and it's that time for you to call in to add your voice to the discourse this morning, and you can do that by calling 081-258-86048. 081-258-86048. Please, when you get through to us in the studio, go straight to the point so others can call in, and don't forget to kindly turn down the volume of your radio set or you move away from it so we can hear you. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Plateau.
Yes, this is Jose Amos calling you from Upper West.
Go ahead, Messiah.
Yes. I want to give kudos to the guests in the studio and to you, the presenter. My take is this one is that the youth are ready to join politics and also to participate and exercise their franchise, politically. But there are so many barriers that are attached to this. One of the guests in the studio made mention of, some of the youths, they send them to prison jail times, and some also they are not educated politically. So they don't know what politics is, but they need guardians also. So many barriers that are affecting the participation of youth in politics. And also, we cannot just keep saying that let the state government do everything for the youth. Now, you made mention of a back farm issue. Youth these days, they only like quick money, not working hard for the and put their inputs where they are supposed to be. No, they want to get money, go and be following hotels and all that things. But at the end of it, they are the ones complaining. So, please, my advice is that there should be mobilization for the youth. Those that they really want to help Plateau State, and they have the heart to do whatever is good for Plateau State and Nigeria entirely. And finally, I want to ask this question. Pertaining that back farm, the made mention, please, somebody went and told his mother that they have not paid him. And the guest that time said that she should check her son. I don't know. The initial arrangement, was it to pay you after working in that place? What was it, please? This is my take this morning. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Hosea, for calling. But then we're not talking about back farms this morning. We would not want to deviate from our focus of discourse this morning. 081-258-86048 is the number to call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Isaac Ike, the radio speaker from Southeast.
Please go ahead, Isaac.
Thank you very much. I want to praise the guests. They have spoken very well this morning. Talking about the youth participation in politics, and in governance and leadership generally, my take is that the other.
Okay. Isaac, please call back if you can. The phone line is free, 081-258-86048. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chris, then I'm Pat calling. I was just in the house. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
I want to say that youth are very, very critical in leadership and governance. As we always say, they are leaders of tomorrow. Even today, they are. We need to bring them along. We need to mentor them. We need to try as much as possible to do the needful for them. Quite unfortunately, sometimes you notice that there's barrier in carrying this youth along. Why? Sometimes the fault cannot be from mentors completely. The youth also have their own portion of blame. On the other hand, sometimes again, from the mentors part of it, they also have theirs. You see, in respect to where I have noticed based on findings is the fact that for youth, one major area is this: they are not ready to be humble, not ready to respect and do the needful. That is one area. Some of them are not having aspiration. They don't have ambition. Sometimes, as we say, the issue of quick money, the issue here is you think you have arrived. Instead of you to humble yourself before the person that's supposed to mentor you, so that you can be what you are tomorrow. When you begin to notice these politicians that have done it, is it Lars, is it Gowon, is it J.D. Gonwo, you begin to trace out the fact that they were having people that mentored them. They humbled themselves, they did the needful. So I want to believe that if you can take a leaf from there, it will help a lot. Instead of going to jungle, instead of taking drugs, instead of going into illicit drinks, that will not help us as a youth. So I want to actually advise in that direction. On the other hand, for the mentors that are into politics, leadership, in governance, I want to believe that you also have a role to play. You know that no matter the number of years, the number of days you want to leave that place, then who succeed you? You must be able to ensure that because of the number of years that you know left for you, you should be able to mentor somebody that will take over. But to some extent, you feel power drunk, then you can remain there. You don't have time to give attention to it. And I want to believe that I want to advise that please and please, youth that are serious, youth that are ready to do the needful, youth that are need the one to be carried along, because we know our future will be at question mark or at risk if we don't actually mentor this younger one. So I want to plead with the mentors that try as much as possible for those that will respect and humble themselves, give them the necessary mentorship so that we can have leaders tomorrow. And I think if we do that, the better. So in policies and what have you, like the two guests have made mention of, we need to co-opt, we narrow as much as possible in our policies as a country, in our policy as a state, even at the local level. Youth must be involved, we must enroll them, we must ensure that the needful is done for them. We must question ourselves, we must question our policy that what have we actually achieved in respect to youth? Even though some government are doing their best, I'm not saying it totally they are not doing it, but they are doing it. So I want to say more places are involved, more need to be done so that we carry this youth along, because our future lies on the youth. If we don't, then I'm telling you that tomorrow there will be question mark. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Good morning, Plato.
Thank you so much, Tad, for adding your voice to the discussion this morning. 081-258-86048. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you be audible? Your voice is faint.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ibrahim Yakubu from Babada.
Okay, I think you need to call us back. We're struggling hearing what you're saying. 081-258-86048 is the number to call. Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Isaac. Is calling you back.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Yes, I was saying that the older generation, the older politicians have not created the enabling environment for the youth to participate actively in politics and governance and leadership in this country. So the environment must be created for them to participate well in politics. And then again,
There is this saying that helping helps those who help themselves. The youth sometimes engage in so many vices that is a factor. Take for instance the issue of drug abuse and other immoral activities. I think if the youth want to participate in politics and if they want to remain relevant, they must do everything possible to shun vices that will be inimical for them to participate in politics. So that is my take this morning. Thank you. Good morning, platform.
Thank you so much, Isaac Etse, for adding your voice to the discourse. 081-258-8048 is the number to call. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Your name and location.
I'm Peace Ambassador Caleb Lamerle from Lala Nokawa Radio Senator.
Go ahead, Lamerle.
We know that this issue of youth, we keep on saying they are leaders of tomorrow. So there are a lot of potholes created by elders. And if these potholes are not filled, the youth will be a problem in the society. It makes them difficult to even to get the leadership. So someone needs to monitor them so that they will be good citizens and good leaders of tomorrow. Yakubu Gowon ruled this country at a younger age. You discover that this youth, some of them have a good quality of leadership, but they have not given chance to lead, to control. Because of some of us as elders, it creates potholes for them, makes things very difficult for them to survive, to penetrate. In terms of campaign, we use them and dump them. In terms of election, we use them and dump them. Then how can we get a good leader of tomorrow? And all these potholes need to be filled. Then we need to bridge the gap between the youth and the elders so that the society of the leadership will be good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lamerle. 081-258-86048 is the number to call in to be a part of the program. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's Radio Mama. Ada Onobu calling from Rantia.
Go ahead, Radio Mama.
The youth, this the issue about youth. An average Nigerian youth, if you ask him why is he not participating in politics, the first thing they'll tell you is money. That's the financial capacity. But that's not it. I'm telling you this in Nigerian youth that their problem is poverty of the mind. They have the numbers. Okay, now even if you have some candidates that are youth and they are capable of that, we find them capable. You know that that youth that is contesting will not get even a vote from the youth. They will go and follow the older people that are giving them money. So that's the poverty of the mind. When they in fact they have to have a kind of rewind their mindset. You know that they can do it. Even there's what you call crowdfunding and all whatnot. So, but the problem is that they don't even believe in themselves. You know, they will now, when you begin to wonder, they will be shouting on social media, going about the youth that some political parties they are there with youth, you know, as candidates. But they don't get votes from the youth themselves. So what does that tell you? Is that poverty of the mind? No sincerity of purpose. They are not united. They are divided along party lines, ethnicity, and what have you, you know, religion and the rest of them. So I think they can have a focus, you know, have a sense of purpose for what they want to do. Identify the person that can really carry out whatever they want to, the duties, and then rally out that person, irrespective of those things I mentioned. They will go into politics, and when that person gets it, the person will now there will be room for other youth to come in. Yeah, that is. So when you're talking about mentor, yes, I say yes, it's true, mentorship. But how many people are ready to mentor with sincerity? Most times the mentors speak from the
we said voting gives us the opportunity to choose our leaders, and participation gives us the opportunity to shape leadership, right? So young people can be able to participate by engaging in community dialogues, as I've told you, engaging in meetings, lending their voices, basically, because leadership is influence. You don't need to be in specific offices before you can be able to lend your voices. There are instances where when other people are complaining, you as a policymaker, as a young person, you can be able to get your own evidence, map out your recommendation, meet stakeholders, engage with them to push these actions. This is how you begin to participate. This is how the participation begins. Basically, so many of us have been complaining. But how many of us were able to, bring our recommendation, meet the right people, then we can be able to channel these things. Youth can also participate by volunteering, monitoring government projects. Just the way my brother have said here, in terms of budget allocations, so many people don't even know the budget that has been given to them in their own communities. And millions of money keep coming in every month for each specific budget. So this is how you can be able to participate in, basically. I could be able to say that within this month, so many young people have been able to complain about one thing or the other. But how many of them were able to bring their own recommendation, meet the right people? Okay, let's try this. None. So we will keep on complaining, but we can be able to participate beyond just our voting. Voting is just one aspect of it. Just we have told us. It's just a way of us choosing our leaders. But that doesn't mean you don't have that influence to participate in governance. People are carried away by politics. They only want the politics aspect. They don't want the policy brief of it. There are so many ways we can be able to recommend policy briefing. Your own recommendation, you lend your voices, and these people will hear you. But we don't follow the right channel, we don't go through the right way, and we want to be in the system. It doesn't work that way. So when we begin to engage in these things through social media, I've used my platform to be able to amplify, advocate for things that were not right, and I've seen the changes. So if young people can be able to participate in these things, it will make a lot of sense. When it comes to volunteering aspect, you don't just see a problem in your own community and you fold your hands. You need to go into action. Mobilize yourself. Go into it. Try to see that you make this a change. When you begin to do these things, trust me, it will make a lot of sense in our own country and nation.
Okay, Toma. You look as if you have a lot to say, so let's hear you. Let's hear what you have to say.
Listening to the callers, most especially the last caller, Radio Mama, she was bluntly right. If a young person that resonates with you decides to contest for a position, this is someone that you can have access to. You could share minds, you could have a lot of discussions. But simply because you believe that everything is all about money, you decide not to resonate. So it's not about even young people are not doing much because they don't know. It's because of just the mentality, poverty of the mindset. And irrespective of whatever category you are in life, whether you're a teenager or a young person, there is one thing that is for sure, is that according to how your life is planned, at least you're supposed to live longer. So what have you made, or what things have you put in place to make you enjoy that longer life? Look at the policies in Plateau State. How many of them resonate with young people? Even in Nigeria, how many of them resonate with young people? Just look at what NECO decided to do, if not because of Nigerians' complaint. How will they have access to education if you double the amount of NECO fees? How will they have access to the education? And most of our leaders who were in charge of doubling those fees were schooling under scholarship. Some of them were even having free education. They even had lunch in their universities. So how do you expect those people who are... we have a lot of dropouts. That's just it. So let's look at policies that would resonate around. And it's not, if you're waiting for government to draft policies for you, you would wait till eternity because they have a lot of things to do. But you as a young person, what have you drafted? How have you submitted? Recently, the Northern Zone, the governors of the Northern Zone decided that they are going to be giving 1 billion every month to see how they can help the issues of insecurity in their state. And a lot of young people were aggrieved, like myself. I wasn't just aggrieved on Facebook. I wrote a letter, took it to the government house. And it's interesting to know that if they go ahead, we're ready to go to court. Myself and my colleagues. Because tell me why you have 1 billion naira and you cannot invest it in the state. You want to go and give your the colleagues in those other places, So we believe that 1 billion naira, if invested in our state, is going to circulate. And it's also going to go a long way. And just to cap up this point, I did a lot of works about violent extremism, And people who are involved in violent extremism are not old people. They are young people. Shekau, the most popular Shekau, the late Shekau, was a fantastic footballer and he was a perfume seller. But there was no enabling environment for him to thrive. Shekau would have been playing for Nigeria if there was a policy that supports young people. But simply because he was idle. Okay, if it does not work for him on sports, what about entrepreneurship? What about business? There was nowhere he could expand his business, because if he was busy buying and selling, he would not be busy listening to preachings that would radicalize him. So he was a perfume seller and he was a footballer. So, but those two things did not favor him, not because he was not up and doing, but because at a point in time, the state had failed him. That is where mentorship come up. People in business have other mentors in business. People in sport have other mentors in sport. You in broadcast, you have mentors in broadcast. I myself, I didn't find myself talking on radio. I had someone that mentored me to be speaking on radio. So let's have a system that works for both the old and the young. Let's have a symbiotic kind of relationship. I have a lot to say, but I think due to time, let me stop it.
All right, so let's go to our Facebook page. We have messages on our page on Facebook. This is from Fwang Mun Claims Dalang. He said youth participation in politics is underrated because the old folks feel we have nothing to offer. That's why an 80-year-old still wants to be president. And Winifred Isaac says, good morning, Plateau. The youth are ready to participate in building Plateau's next generation of leaders in the state, but they lack support and mentorship. Exactly. Well done. You're doing a great job. This one is from Manji David. He says, good morning, presenter and the guest in the studio. I have a question. And he said, by elections, what practical platforms exist right now for Plateau youth to lead in governance and development? And what role should civil society play in grooming young leaders between election circles? This one is from Comrade Chuang Dachalom. He says, good morning, presenter and guest. The youth are the backbone of the society. Hence the need for government at all levels to carry them along in the scheme of things. Kudos to Governor Mutfwang for carrying the young people along as seen in most of his appointments. And this one is from Ntung Ngava. He says, good morning, Plateau and presenter. From what happened during primary election already gives us the views of upcoming general election results. It means that they have chose and nominated who they want to rule. And advise youth not to waste their time at the polling units, because people we voted for are the ones who will not rule. Thank you. Okay, so I would bet to disagree.
Yeah, I will disagree.
Our votes are our the power we have. Yeah. So don't sit at home. Go to the polling units and cast your votes. Yeah. All right. So could you respond to
just to respond to this last person? You know, we are preparing for the general elections, which is happening in January. You know, once the campaigns are open, I think August 19 is when campaigns will be open. You know, for the senatorial and all that. So, but a lot of people dwell on the popular parties. You know, we have a lot of political parties that you can register and galvanize your votes and go to the polling units. We had a speaker that was from the YPP. He won his election under the YPP. I hardly knew, aside him, I don't know any other person that is in that particular political party. But his mode of communication with his fellow young people in Pangshin galvanized a lot of vote for him, and they voted for him, which is one. Secondly, we are going to match technology for technology. Yes, beavers is a technology that is being used. If you feel that you do not trust the beavers, you can create your own mode of monitoring election. He is right by saying he saw the way the primary election is being done, but we should not conclude that that is how the secondary election, or we should not give up, you know, of how the general elections will be done. So we can come up with ways in which you as an individual, or youth as individuals or as a body, can monitor these elections. Come up with ways, brainstorm, think. Aside going to vote, Wait for your vote to be counted, for the result to be entered. Escort your ballot papers and your results to your rack centers. Do all those things in a non-violent manner, in a peaceful manner, because the essence of elections is really a big determinant, most especially in Plateau State. So let's make sure that we monitor our vote, but don't say that there's no need to go and vote. No, that is your right to make sure that leaders are being placed in power.
Okay, Manji David asked if there are practical platforms that exist right now for Plateau youth to lead in governance.
Yes, there are practical platforms. So there is a association in Plateau State called Prtvc Practitioners Network. It's a network that houses all civil society and NGOs in Plateau State. He can go to opposite MTN office at Hill Station, ask for Relief and Hope Foundation. That is the president that hosts this particular network, and who could make inquiries as regards to how he can be part of the network. You can be part of the network as an individual, you can be part of the network as an organization. But you meet people of like minds who are into election, who are into civil society, who are into budget monitoring, who are into health, who are into peace building. You meet like minds, and then you could see how you could pull up ideas together to create that impact they are looking for. So that's how he could actually participate.
Okay, so when we have youths coming together to talk about things that concerns us, time is always an issue. We don't get to be able to fully talk about the things we need to talk about. So your parting shot as we wrap up.
Okay, so it's just to one of my parting words is I want to appeal to our elected officials and then appointed officials. Let us have that synergy with the people we represent. Sometimes we might get overboard, get angry because we are all humans, but let's have the carrot and stick approach. Once you beat someone with the left hand, you receive him with the right hand. So this appeal is just to the chairman of Langtan North and Langtan South. Yes, this boy has been punished enough. Please bring him closer, have that explanation, and then see how you can progress the both local governments.
Okay, Godwin?
Yes, I just want to add up to one of the ways relating to how people can be able to participate in governance, other platforms, just like PAL, just we have said, one of the biggest issues of Africa, it's not leadership, it's the one of the major challenges is it's not just talent, it's the absence of leadership development. That is why fellowships like PAL, police advocacy, leadership, it gives you the platform for you to be able to network with people, meet mentors, advocates and leadership industrialists, diplomats from different fields. Right, this is one of the platforms you can be able to leverage to be able to know what policy advocacy is, what critical thinking is, and that way we can be able to do it. And my final word is that Nigeria doesn't need young leaders. Nigeria needs prepared leaders, people that knows the way, people that can be able to, that are courageous, people that can be able to take bold steps. Nigeria needs citizens that are prepared to lead, that has clarity with vision, and that way we can be able to have a better country.
All right, Godwin, Geoffrey, and Pam Chuang-Toma, thank you so much for your time on Good Morning Plateau this morning. Well, listener, this is the much we can take on today's edition of the program, and our gratitude to our guest. Thank you for reminding us that leadership isn't waiting for the next election. It is built in the everyday decisions we make, in the mentorship we seek, and the courage of young people to show up. And to our listener, elections come and go, but Plateau's future is being written right now. It is written in our local governments, in our schools, and in our communities. So if you are young, please get involved. If you are a leader, open the door. And if you are a citizen, demand better. Good Morning Plateau will be back on your airwaves tomorrow, same time, same station. The executive producer, Rita Kachalom Pam, supervising producer, Hudun Grace Gang, Inga Samuel, and Titus Datus produced the program. My name is Plangret Dabang. Stay tuned to Peace 90.5 FM and enjoy the very best we have for you today.
This is Good Morning Plateau.
My name is Modesty Nianglong. Nigeria has emerged. My name is Modesty Nianglong. Nigeria has emerged as one of Africa's most regulated online gambling markets, even as illegal operators continue to dominate the continent, according to a new report by Gaming Compliance International (GCI). The report, the first comprehensive assessment of online gambling across all 54 African countries, showed that Africa's online gambling gross gaming revenue (GGR) reached $23 billion in 2025. However, only $5.2 billion was generated by licensed operators, while $17.8 billion remained in the unregulated market. In West Africa, total online gambling revenue rose to $4.8 billion in 2025 from $4.3 billion in 2025. Of the 2025 figure, regulated operators accounted for $1.5 billion, while $3.3 billion flowed to unlicensed platforms, highlighting the region's persistent enforcement challenges. Nigeria stood out as the region's strongest performer, recording the lowest unregulated market share at 56%, compared with the West African average of 69% and the African average of 77%. The study also found that online gambling participation across Africa increased from 198 million people in 2024 to 215 million people in 2025. Despite this growth, GCI estimated that illegal operators deprived African governments of about $3.55 billion in tax revenue in 2025. The number of unlicensed gambling platforms targeting African consumers also rose to 4,129, up from 3,644 in 2024. The National Pension Commission (PENCOM) is set to refine its investment frameworks to direct pension capital into critical national assets, including infrastructure, energy, healthcare, and agriculture, while maintaining competitive returns for contributors. These are some of the disclosures made by the PENCOM Director General, Ms. Omolala Oluwararan, at a briefing in Abuja, where she outlined key achievements of the Commission in the last 2 years. Meanwhile, in outlining the major milestones, she indicated an injection of 10.7 trillion naira in new retirement savings into the national economy during the period, which brought the total pension asset to 31.48 trillion naira as of July 10, 2026, a 51% expansion from 20.79 trillion naira in July 2024. Oluwararan attributed growth to aggressive recovery of unremitted contributions, flexible investment strategies, improved compliance, and tighter collaboration with anti-graft agencies such as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC). Looking ahead, the Commission outlined three upcoming initiatives, including a health initiative set to be launched within 3 months, with a pilot program to provide free health insurance to 30,000 low-income retirees aged 60 and above, earning 150,000 naira or less monthly before expanding nationally. The second initiative is a minimum pension guarantee, which is a structural flaw to ensure no contributory pension scheme retiree falls below a guaranteed basic income. The Commission also intends to initiate an informal sector expansion through a rollout of the personal pension plan and a network of accredited pension agents designed to extend coverage to traders, artisans, transport workers, and fintech users while creating job opportunities. Frequent power outages and inadequate electricity supply in Pangshin local government area may soon become a thing of the past, as the federal government flagged off the 1.5 megawatt Tier 1 solar power project in the locality. The project, powered by the Rural Electrification Agency, is designed to provide clean and reliable electricity to homes, businesses, and public institutions, while stimulating economic growth and improving livelihoods. Government House correspondent reports Governor Caleb Mutfwang flagged off the project. The report.
To address the perennial power problems in the country, the federal government, through a special intervention fund, earmarked about $750 million to solve power problems in rural communities across the country. Governor Caleb Mutfwang commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his continued support to Plateau State, including the upgrade of the Federal College of Education Pangshin to a university and the intervention in expanding electricity access across the country. Governor Mutfwang noted that the solar power project aligns with the federal government's vision of building a $1 trillion economy by providing the energy needed to drive businesses, create jobs, and attract investments.
As we flag off this worthy project to deliver 1.5 megawatts of electricity to Pangshin, it is interesting, MD, that we are starting this in Pangshin. Pangshin is the old headquarters of the old Pangshin division. There are many institutions here whose burdens will be taken off.
Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Umar Aliyu, said the project marks another milestone in Nigeria's drive towards universal access to rural electrification through the integration of renewable energy into the nation's power infrastructure.
This program represents a new chapter in the evolution of our electricity sector, where distributed renewable energy complements the national grid, strengthens distribution network, and improves reliability of power productive and economic activities.
State Commissioner of Water Resources and Energy, Bashir Lawandi, asserted that the time is now administration's investment in energy has rejuvenated life and economy in the rural areas. Chairman of Pangshin Local Government, Philip Gonu, the Ngolongas Ndejikangolit, and the member representing Pangshin North in the Plateau State House of Assembly, Gabriel Dewan, described the initiative as timely, saying it will transform economic activities and improve the quality of life of their people. The people of Pangshin were, for the reason of the project, enjoined to take ownership of the infrastructure and safeguard it against vandalism. This is Timothy Tier.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery has resumed gantry loading of premium motor spirits PMS, also known as petrol, in Naira after a week suspension, ending uncertainty in the downstream sector over its temporary shift to dollar-dominated sales. Checks by Vanguard showed that the refinery has fixed its new ex-depot gantry price at 1,215 Naira per litre, representing an increase of 140 Naira per litre from the previous price of 1,075 Naira per litre. The increase in the gantry price is directly linked to the sharp rally in global crude oil prices, which has raised the cost of producing refined petroleum products, including petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel, heightening concerns over fresh fuel hikes in Nigeria and other oil importing countries. Market data on Wednesday showed that Brent crude, the international benchmark against which Nigeria's crude is priced, climbed 3.18% to $93.90 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate rose 2.74% to $86.65 per barrel. The price adjustment also comes at a time when domestic petrol prices have already risen sharply following the increase in ex-depot prices by major suppliers, raising fears of another round of pump price increases at filling stations. The resumption of Naira-dominated truck loading is expected to improve product availability after supply disruptions caused by the suspension. Industry sources confirmed that marketers have been notified of the resumption of gantry operations, with loading set to commence immediately after the revised Naira pricing structure. The refinery's return to Naira pricing for truck loading follows some days of uncertainty in the downstream petroleum markets after the suspension forced many independent marketers to source products from private depots. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, yesterday embarked on nationwide enforcement against all alcoholic beverages packaged in sachets and polythene teralites, PET, bottles below 200 milliliters, marking the full implementation of the federal government's ban on the product. The sweeping crackdown, which is taking place simultaneously across the 6 geopolitical zones, followed the closure of manufacturing facilities to be producing the banned alcoholic drinks in violation of regulatory directives. Consequently, NAFDAC enforcement teams have found out of markets, motor parks, retail outlets, bars, supermarkets, and other distribution channels to identify, seize, and destroy the prohibited products, warning that anyone found producing, importing, distributing, transporting, stocking, or selling them risk prosecution. The Director General, Professor Christiana Adeyeye, said in a statement on Wednesday that the agency had directed manufacturers, importers, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, hawkers, and transporters to immediately surrender any remaining stock. She stressed that continued possession or sale of the product would attract seizure, regulatory sanctions, and possible prosecution. The nationwide operation represents one of the most aggressive regulatory actions against alcoholic beverages in recent years and signals the government's determination to tackle underage drinking, substance abuse, and easy accessibility to cheap alcohol among young Nigerians. NAFDAC said the exercise was not a one-off operation, but part of a sustained nationwide enforcement and public enlightenment campaign to eliminate harmful alcohol products from the Nigerian market. And that's the much we can take on business news this morning. Stay tuned for News Track at 2 p.m. Good morning.